Hello everyone, this is Randy here again, another episode of Farming Simulator 15, and we are playing on the Idaho map. Where we are continuing to harvest, and hopefully this episode will do a little replanting as well. If we can drive this tractor straight anyway. Yes, we're going to get this tractor unloaded here. Just finished harvesting field 7, which is the last of the ripe fields out in the farm area here. We have 2 more ripe fields out by the cow area. I do have the case on the case. Speaking of which, the case is full. Okay, he can drive the course, and hopefully he will empty that. Now you'll empty that. Okay, let's go grab the case here. And I've just been unloading this one manually. Using the big setup, obviously. Hopefully it won't crash the game here with this combine unloading into it. In fact, what I may do here, let's just save the game just in case. Because you never know what this case could do. Actually, it's probably not even lined up good enough to actually empty into it. Oh well. Yeah, like I said, I've been having some trouble with these tippers. And I'm thinking after I finish this map, these tippers are going to go bye-bye. Not sure about if I'll get rid of the entire cat pack, but I'm thinking I'm for sure going to be getting rid of these tippers, because they've been nothing but problems. So, I would replace them, and I'm thinking about doing that, but I just don't really have a good tipper to replace them with, so. Yeah, he's not within range of that second trailer there. Okay. And this little guy is cultivating where he shouldn't be again. That I found is the one unfortunate, severely unfortunate problem with this particular ripper. Because it plows and cultivates at the same pass. Hired worker doesn't sometimes turn properly, so kind of unfortunate. But anyway, we'll start him out again, and hopefully he will turn the right way this time. Probably not, but we'll try. What do we got? Maybe half the field done here? Yeah, I would say about half the field. Yeah, we'll have to watch him when he gets down to the other end here. If he turns, obviously he needs to turn this way, not this way, because this bit's already done. Yeah, because he plows first in front, he doesn't actually detect that it's, done. It thinks it needs to be plowed, so yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Okay, we'll just leave these guys here, shut the engine off, and shut the engine off on this guy. Unless something changed, there should be no more ripe fields in this area. Yes, everything is still becoming ripe yet. Fields 35 and 36 here up here are obviously ripe and ready to go. Yes, everything else is waiting. Okay. And that means I want to get a planter. And I want to get a bigger planter. For a couple of reasons. One, the John Deere here that we have, good planter, works great, just it's small, 6 meters. And then this Vaderstad, it's a piece of crap, to put it nicely. It works good, it's 9 meters, it fertilizes, and I think it's the fertilizing bit that keeps screwing this planter up with a hired worker, so. And I was debating, I either want to get the Bergolt, or we got the Horse Pronto here. Well, unfortunately, I cannot afford the Horse Pronto, so I think we're going to go with the Bergolt. Not quite as nice a planter in my opinion, but we can afford it, so We're going to buy that one. Let's grab a tractor. And you know what, we'll go pick it up this time, I guess. Save on, delivery expenses. Plus, I haven't driven out to the shop in a couple of episodes, so it's kind of a fun little map to drive around. Nicely done roads. Looks very American, if you ask me. You got the electrical poles along the side of the road. You got a field on either side. A couple trees here and there. Kind of a town area. And don't forget McDonald's up ahead. Gotta have yourself some McDonald's every now and then. What if they have a drive-through for a tractor? I don't see a drive-through period, actually. Ah, there's the drive-through. Probably. Yeah, maybe not. Those might just be windows. Oh, well. And this should be a large planter, so I'm hoping to be able to finish the fields a little bit quicker. I believe it was 20 meters, it said. Look out for the fence there. Yeah, so we'll get this back to the farm and we'll take a little closer look at it. I've had this mod for quite some time, actually. Haven't really used it other than kind of tested it out one time, so we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's quite as nice as the Bergolt planters that were in 2013. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll work. Just clear the traffic lights there. And yes, I'm just using the glance mod up there to keep an eye on the Case Combine. And once he gets full, we'll just run down there with our truck and empty him. I haven't bothered setting up course-play courses for those fields out there. It'd be quite the course-play courses if I did, so haven't bothered. Okay, let's fill this thing up, I guess. I'm assuming it's going to hold quite a bit. Now, it looks like this back air tank here does hinge a little bit on the planter. That's a good thing. I did notice that a little bit when I was testing it. It seems like it didn't hinge properly on the back sometimes. Kind of bound the planter up, but we'll see how it goes this time. And we're going to start planting on field 6 here. Field 6 we should check. Hey, he's doing it on the right side. Look at that, folks. Excellent. Very good job. Very good job. I'll have to give you a pat on the back or something. Yeah, pat on the back. We don't give any pay raises. Screw that. Okay, what shall we plant? Wheat? Sure, we can plant wheat. That sounds like a good crop to plant. Actually, you know what? Let's do barley. Haven't done barley, a whole lot of barley yet this season. I'm going to start with a nice headland here so I can turn around. I don't want to do a headland all the way across the field because, yes, that planter will destroy it. So, wow, look at that width. We'll have this field done in no time flat. Just do a GPS mod here, too. Just, better lower it down, I guess. Okay, I'm thinking more horsepower might be needed. try some diff lock, see if that makes a difference. Nope, no difference, okay. Wanted to see if the tires are spinning there. It does look like they are, but... Interesting. I was wondering about that. If we look at the shop, though, that's not the shop. This is the shop. It says horsepower 250, so I'm like, okay, well, 250, I can definitely manage that. Doesn't seem like enough for this size of planter. I would expect something, you know, 400 or 500 horsepower. Which, by the way, we do have. This is a 435 horsepower tractor, so... yeah, you would think it'd be enough horsepower. That is one of the things I do like about the new Farming Sim 15. You really got to pay attention to your horsepower requirements. And just, you know, hook up any tractor to it and pull it. Well, you probably can. You're just not going to pull it very fast, and it might not, you know, pull it good. I thought I raised that up. Can I not raise it up? V is up and down. Interesting. I must have either put it back down or it never came up or something. Anyway, let's set the GPS mod up correctly this time. Zero the offset. It says 21.1. Interesting. We're going to minus that just a little bit. It says 20.5 in the store, so I'm going to go with that width. And I wonder if our John Deere will pull us any better. So I'll just give it a try. The one thing I've noticed about this case here, it likes to spin its tires. So that's the only complaint I have with the case here. See if the John Deere is any better. John Deere clearly needs a bath too. The John Deere here does not have as much horsepower as the case does, by the way. Not even close, actually. If I think it's 280 horsepower, I'd like to say. Now we're going to give it a bath here first. Maybe that's close enough. And I found with the tractor here, kind of right above the rear tire by the cab here, seems like a good spot to clean this tractor with. See it clean it up quite nicely now. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, the Case 380 there is the biggest tractor we own. Now we do have the 9560 there on the Ripper. That is obviously a much bigger tractor yet. We're just renting that tractor at the moment, and that Ripper does need that tractor. So, in fact, it probably actually needs a bigger tractor than what's currently on it. I think the John Deere, actually it should stay up in the glance mod here. It's pulling it at 7.4 miles an hour, according to the glance mod. And speaking of the glance mod, we'll empty our case. That's one of the reasons I planted canola up here too, so the combine will keep going for a while before it needs emptying. Otherwise, like wheat or corn or one of those other crops, will be emptying this combine a lot more. Got a lot more time to do that, so. Okay. And well, I guess we'll have to... Whoa, that's definitely not the right width. go. Shift that course over just a little bit. Oh yeah, you can really tell the horsepower's lacking here, folks. 1 mile an hour. Yep, this tractor's definitely not going to do it, so okay. Might actually have to rent a bigger tractor then, maybe. Although I don't think we actually have the money to do that. So apparently the extra 150 or so horsepower our case has definitely is needed for that planter. However, I would like to point out, and let's just double check this. Pretty sure this was, yeah, 280 horsepower. That's what I thought. According to the planter here, it only says 250 is required. So we technically have enough, according to the description. And I've noticed that more than a few times with mods now, that the horsepower requirement they say is usually not quite correct. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you can get away with less. In this case, apparently you need more. So I guess we'll stick with the case for the moment. I do have quite a bit of crops I can sell. The trouble is my selling setup is out emptying the combine there, so... speaking of which, we got to 550,050 corn out of this field. I just thought that was a funny number. There we go. Looks like that middle section is like offset or something. I'm not sure why. I think the planter's entirely in a straight row from the looks of it. Yeah, I don't see nothing offset on the planter. Must be just the way something is set up, I guess. Yeah, clearly this is going to take a while if I don't get a bigger tractor. Can I take out a loan? Oh, I can take out a loan. Thought I had that maxed out, but I didn't. Okay, let's go the right way here. Let's probably borrow 40,000. Probably what we'll need to borrow. And let's see what tractors we can rent. We need to be a big tractor. Yeah, I doubt even that tractor will actually be big enough. Ooh, we do have the Kurovitz. Yeah, 220 horsepower though. Probably the only thing I actually have big enough is the 9560 here. And if we get to the end, I have a couple of New Hollands. Let's see, it's going to be cheaper to rent a New Holland probably. I think maybe we'll try that. Let's try a New Holland. So tractors. Got the 670 Smart Track. This, I believe, the tracks on this one are the ones I've seen at the shop in our local area. I've never seen a New Holland with tracks like this on it. Not saying it don't exist, but I've never seen one with tracks like that on it. Tend to be the tracks you find on a case. Which could be the case, they do actually put those on there now. I know Case, New Holland, very similar in their tractors. Yeah, looks like we're going to be spending more time trying to find a tractor to pull this planter this episode than actually pulling it. Yeah, nice thing about the rental mod, it does allow us to, you know, cheaply, somewhat cheaply, get a larger tractor so we can use our larger equipment. I cannot shut you off. Interesting. Yeah, I can't shut it off. Okay. I wonder. Now I can. Okay. Yeah, so renting a tractor must screw up the entire drive control mod. I'll have to say this is a large-looking tractor. I haven't taken the time to look, but I'm just guessing probably the same as the in-game tractor. They just put the tracks on it. Which, to be honest, I'm not a particular fan of the in-game New Holland, the large one, just because it doesn't have duals on it. Typically, at least in my area, when you see a tractor of this size, it always has duals, sometimes even triples. Get the articulated tractors, never ever see them without the duals on them. Not unless they're like replacing the tires on them or something. Farmer a few miles down the road from us was actually doing that. I think that was last year. They had all the tires stripped off and were putting all brand new tires on. I'm not sure how much that cost, but I'm betting that was a pretty bundle for those tires. Okay, set up the GPS mod yet again. Be nice if the GPS mod would actually go to the right width. I will go with 20.6. That should be fine, actually. Oh, and 0 the offset. Just move it over just a tad, too. That was interesting. There we go. Now we can pull it at 10 miles an hour. Much better speed, in my opinion. Although, to be honest, 5 miles an hour is probably somewhat realistic. You're not quite that slow, but a good 7, 8 or so is probably realistic. Oh, and our combine's full again. I better empty that. We're lucky he's on the right. Oh, and he is on the right side. I can just pull up and leave it. And yes, after this harvest, hopefully we'll have enough money to actually purchase some of the equipment we're renting. We're renting a large John Deere, a large New Holland, and 1 case combine at the moment. Though technically we probably don't need the case combine at the moment. We just got the Cat Lexion is just sitting over there idle. Pretty much kind of waiting for the fields over here to get ripe. Kind of cool, you can actually see the drive shaft turning in there. Nice bit of detail there. Oh, I should have shifted it over just a little bit more yet, I guess. Yeah, top bit of the field here kind of like jogs out a bit. Not sure why that is, but it does, so. Yeah, we should be able to plant this field much, much faster with this planter. It takes quite a while to plant it with the smaller Vaderstad planter that we have. Hopefully we can make the turn here. Oh yeah, easy. Once you get out that way on the field, it's not quite so bad. There's not as much stuff in the way, but this side of the field, there's a couple trees. I'd say about the only thing lacking from this particular planter then is the fertilizer option. I don't think it has one, does it? No, not that I noticed. 2013, depending on which Bergalt seeder you had, they did actually have that option to put fertilizer down as well. That's not a problem. We have the Amazon Pantera that can put fertilizer down quite quickly for us. Probably the perfect opportunity to try it with auto tractor again as well, the sprayer. Always been wanting to give that another try, see how it works on a more squarer field. And we got a comment here from Farmer Boy at Heart. I just realized I have not read any comments yet this episode, and I do have a couple to read. Might not be able to get to all of them this episode. Maybe I'll have to remember to try to do them next episode. But Farmer Boy at Heart was saying, "Hey Randy, great video. I noticed that the lined furrows in the plow cultivator and planted soil textures change direction based on which way the implement is going. Did you know what you have to do to get that feature?" And I gotta watch where I'm going here a minute. I'll finish reading the comment. It's hard to read comments and do a turn at the same time. Although actually, I could technically actually have the GPS mod do it, and that would make it much easier. Although I'm not particularly a fan of the way GPS mod turns. Anyway, back to Farmer Boy at Heart's comment. That'd be nice to have that feature on the farm. Thanks, great video. Thank you very much for that. As far as the texture changing, let's, I'm assuming you're referring to this bit here. When I'm going this way, you know, the texture obviously goes that way. That's a built-in feature to Farming Sim. That's basically what that is. Jackknife the thing practically. Come on, you silly tractor. But yeah, that should be a built-in feature to Farming Sim. There's nothing you should have to do to have that I know of. And if you don't have that, I'm not sure what to say. Depending on the map, will depend on the resolution of the turns you can make. This particular map, I think, is just 90 degree and 45 degree angles. Coldborough map, probably a good example there, where you had multiple angles. I think it was a 2 degree increment on the angles. Whereas, you know, this map is 45 degrees, so if I turn 45, I plan to texture run that way. And, you know, if you turn another 45, it'll run this way, and, you know, same thing this way, and, well, back to basically going up and down again. Whereas, yeah, cold world map, you could basically, you know, just a little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit, little bit. Looks a lot nicer if you have that feature, but that's actually a built-in feature to the map. So it's possible maybe you're playing on a particular map that doesn't have any of that. I have seen that on maps before. Sometimes when you're planting, even though you're, say, planting this way, it'll still plant the texture this way. I don't know why, but I think that's map related, so hopefully that answers your question. And with that, I think we better call it an episode. So, hey, folks, have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.